I begin this hour with a little bit of Donald Trump, the president, speaking at a rally in Manchester last night. There in New Hampshire with him, his son, Eric Trump, who joins me, I think, for the first time on the Hugh Hewitt Show. Good morning, Eric. Welcome.
Hugh, it's great to be on.
I've had your sister and your brother and your father many times. It's great to have you on. Were you on the stage last night, or were you campaigning elsewhere?
You know what I was, and I was campaigning all over the place. I was in Iowa all last week. The turnout there was unbelievable. You probably saw the mess that was also known as the Democratic Party last week. But, everywhere we went, Hugh, everywhere we went, we brought 80 surrogates into the state. Everybody had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people show up for a man who's pretty much running uncontested, right? The show of force in Iowa was phenomenal, and the amount of funds we're raising and the amount of support out there is just, I've never seen my father stronger than he is right now, and you saw that last night. We had 52,000 RSVPs for the rally last night, 52,000. They filled that stadium multiple times. There were so many people outside that couldn't even get in. That's how crowded it was, and it was just an amazing night. It was an amazing, amazing night. Governor
Sununu, who began the show with me this morning at 6:06 a.m. Eastern Time, said New Hampshire is very much in play. I believe this is the strongest economy of my lifetime. I'm 63. I'm double your age. I don't think I've ever seen 3.5% unemployment, 3.6% unemployment with a growing labor force. I certainly haven't seen an average wage of $28 an hour. I think that's changing the map, Eric Trump.
Yeah, I think it is too. There's a lot of states in play. I think we're going to put Minnesota in play. I think we're going to put New Mexico in play. There are a lot of states in play. Even look at the rally he had in New Jersey last week. A state that hasn't been in play for Republicans for a very long time. The amount of outpouring of support in that state, again, a very blue state, was just absolutely tremendous. You look at New Hampshire. New Hampshire has the fifth or sixth best economy, meaning of any state in the nation. They have 20,000 people in 3 years that have come off food stamps in that state alone. Drug overdoses in the state have gone down by almost 10%, right? That was a big problem that New Hampshire always had, was the drug epidemic. They're doing incredible. Just the results of that state have been unbelievable. Their economy is on fire. Jobs are coming back to it. Manufacturing's coming back to it. Wages are growing really, really quickly in New Hampshire and, quite frankly, all across the country. That state's doing incredible. And remember, Hugh, we only lost that state by 6,000 votes. This is when the New York Times gave us a 1.9% chance of being able to win an election. We lost by 6,000 votes, and we didn't have any budget. She outspent us. Hillary outspent us 7-1. And I think tides are going to be very different this time. And if you look at the support for all the other people, and you look at the support for my father right now, it's not even close.
In Virginia, where I'm a resident, Eric Trump, I got to vote excused absentee because I'll be on the West Coast on March 3rd, and I voted for Bernie Sanders because I want the clearest choice possible, the socialist and the free marketeer. Who would you rather run against?
You know what? I want to vote against. Honestly, I don't mean to dodge the question. I'd run against any of these idiots, and I really mean that. You look at Biden. Biden can't make it through a sentence without totally stumbling. The whole pony face soul. I would love to run against him. I would absolutely love it. Then you look at Bernie Sanders. Let's tax everybody 85%. Let's take away 180 million private health care plans in this country. Let's spend trillions and trillions of dollars on Medicare for illegal immigrants and all these other things. Let's spend trillions of dollars on the Green New Deal, which would bankrupt the country. Let's run against that. I'd love to run against that, and I'd love to run against Pocahontas, and I'd love to run. I'd really run against any of these people. Or a failed mayor of a small city. Happy to run against him, or Bloomberg, who's taken so many contrarian positions. And
let's talk about him for a second. You are a New Yorker. You know the mayor of the New York City for 12 years up close and personal. Is Mike Bloomberg the toughest opponent for Donald Trump?
Honestly, no, because you know what? If you look at what Mike Bloomberg did in New York, he banned sodas over 8 ounces. He banned plastic straws. I really don't think that's what Pennsylvania and Ohio and Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada, I don't think those are the things that people care about. I think they care about seeing wages grow and seeing our economy grow and seeing stock markets boom, seeing 401ks double, and all the other great things that have happened. I don't think they care about a guy who just cares about banning, sodas larger than 8 ounces and banning plastic straws. And that's effectively much of what Bloomberg stood for. And then look at all his other positions, right? He's the most anti-gun guy in the country, which doesn't go well, in those states. look at what he did with stop and frisk. He was saying stop and frisk was the best thing that he ever did, and then 3 days ago he's on an apology tour all across the country. I just don't think he can win. And then, last but not least, he has no charisma. I mean, if you look at the thing that caused Clinton to win and caused Obama to win and caused Reagan to win, I mean, what was it, Hugh? They all had charisma. The one thing that he has none of, the one thing that Bloomberg has none of is charisma. He has zero charisma, and I think you need that special little kind of spark in your eye, and he just doesn't have it. I mean, the guy does not have it. He's not relatable.
Eric Trump, when your father took his victory lap after acquittal and impeachment, he apologized to his family for the difficulty and the pain it had inflicted on you. What was he talking about? What was the toll it took on you, your wife, your young children?
Yeah, listen, first of all, he never needs to apologize to us. We're in this fight. Day one, we stood by his side. I think you know that better than anybody. We were up there on stage with him, and we're big boys and girls. And he always said, you know what, kids, we're going to find out who our real friends are, and this is going to be brutal. They're going to come after us like you have, never seen before. And it's exactly what they did. They know they couldn't beat him at the polls, so they come after our family. They come after our kids. I mean, they're relentless, but we're beating them. It's actually a sign, Hugh, that we're winning. We're beating them, but they are nasty. They will weaponize the legal system in every way, shape, or form. They will make up lies. They will disparage you. They'll attack your kids. I mean, they'll attack your friends. It's unlike anything I'd never seen. I've never seen the darkness of politics until I hopped into this. But I think people are starting to realize it. You saw the Russia hoax. You saw what they tried to do to Kavanaugh. I mean, they tried to destroy a good man. They tried to destroy so many people. Look at Admiral Ronnie Jackson. They tried to destroy his life and so many others. But at the end of the day, you know what? We're winning this thing. The American people are seeing through the nonsense, seeing through the hatred. And I really believe that they're walking him into victory. Just their meanness and their smugness and their nastiness is walking him into re-election.
Last set of questions, Eric Trump. The president has rejected the Presidential Debate Commission as the rule setter. I think that's a very fine choice because they have no legitimate standing. They're not illegal. They're just an agreement. It should be negotiated between your father and whoever the nominee is. But who would you trust to run those debates if they're going to be debates? Because it seems to me a great deal, not all, but a great percentage, a majority of mainstream media is unbalanced about your father.
Well, that's exactly right. I've studied this at length. I mean, look at the people on that panel. I mean, it's great if you could really have an unbiased panel, but look at the people on that panel. You've got 6 Democrats, and then you have 6 rhino Republicans who may as well be Democrats, meaning kind of Republicans that hate my father and kind of are old school. I mean, it's not exactly a fair panel. So it'd be really nice if you could come up with a system where you have six Democrats, 6 Republicans, they negotiate format, they negotiate moderators, they negotiate where the locations are going to be. But that's not what this panel is. I mean, this panel is effectively 12 anti-Trump people and in a whole group that's anti-Trump who's making the rules of the debate. It's not exactly great. So we'll see what happens with them. Either we work.
My suggestion, Eric Trump, is that your father name one, the Democratic nominee name one, and those 2 people name a third. Isn't that the best way to do it? That's how arbitration works all over the world.
By the way, that's how it should be. Or if you had a commission that was fair, then they could do the same thing. They could accomplish the same goal. The difference is when you actually look at the resumes of the Republicans and what they've said about my father, clearly you're walking into just an absolute bias mess. And so we'll play that out, and if we have to go our own way, we'll go our own way. No way
you take you can take their colleges and their dates, but there's no way you'll let them name the moderators, correct?
No, listen, that's going to obviously be negotiation between the 2 campaigns. There's just no question about that.
Eric Trump, great to have you. Keep coming back. Follow him on Twitter @EricTrump.